Hey guys, what's up? Yes, we are here with another updated review and discussion on the 48th page of the ever ongoing Sabrina Online Zig Zag centric story, Stripes and Links. Last time we were talking about this and everything, last time we were talking about it, Sabrina, not Sabrina, but Zig Zag had reunited with her family and everything. She had reunited with her family. Basically, finally acknowledged to her siblings, Brandon and Brandy, exactly why she left, in the first place. Basically, stating that she tried to stay as long as she could for their sake, for their safety, and basically take all the abuse and all the, I guess you could say, harassment, and all that, basically all that kind of stuff that, if you add the S word to it, if you know what I mean, and I'm not talking S-H-I-T, I'm talking S-E-X, if you know what I mean, but then you put a U-A-L and all that. She basically stated in there that that she basically did her best to stay there as long as she could, to take as much of that, on herself, then have it, put upon them by their father, who was not a good father. He's not a good person. And it just got to a point where she's like, enough's enough. I can't do this no more. And she just upped and left. But before she did that, she wanted to ensure that her siblings were taken care of, that they were in the guardianship of the grandparents. And she also, after she found success, of course, with her Double Z Studios, she would send money their way to help them out financially, even when she was, and she even did it before that, when she was working as a stripper at an adult, basically an adult club, if you will, where she ended up meeting Tina Links, who is her bisexual girlfriend, if you will, on and off bisexual girlfriend. And basically Tina went to the, and we found this out in the flashback during the story, went there, recruited Zig Zag to be part of the adult studio, film studio she was part of. And obviously we know that they, based on, reading the story, looking at the flashbacks, they did work together, but that Tina was basically also going to start stepping away because the owner who they were working for, the boss of that film studio, felt like, people like Tina was not, profitable on screen anymore. And Zig Zag's like, no way, that's not true. You are profitable. You are a good-looking girl. You are very, very romantic, very, frisky, if you catch my drift, and all that kind of, talk that, get you in that mood, or basically get you into the mood for certain scenes if you're into that genre. And she then decides in the flashback, hey, why not we start our own studio and we can do whatever we want? Because we also find out in the flashback, that Zig Zag wants to do all these different kind of things. And the boss is like, no, not doing that. We're sticking to what we know because that's what makes the money. But Zig Zag's very, very adventurous, very innovative, very, basically likes to try, very experimental, very experimental. She likes to try all sorts of different things. So Zig Zag's like, in the flashback, why don't we try our own studio and we can do all the things we want to do. And, you, Tina, you can continue doing, what you're doing, being an adult film star. You can also work behind the scenes if you want to, stuff like that. Basically have their own schedule and give those that they hire on, the freedom to do, to kind of go, in directions and do things maybe they wouldn't normally do elsewhere. This is why sometimes when you read certain spin-off stories, either part of the Fur After Dark spin-off site, which is more based on the Zig Zag Double Z side of things, very NFSW. You see these web comics either by Eric or by either by Eric W. Schwartz or by Max Black Rabbit or other artists, and writers. You see these stories to like how, Zig Zag hired on Sheila Vixen, how, Zig Zag met Helena Dish, and so on and so forth. And basically you see that she not only likes to get hands-on with them at first, to kind of see what they can bring to the table, but you could tell right away they know, someone like, let's say Sheila, she knows that, hey, I'm going to be in good hands at this place. I'm going to have some fun at this place. And obviously, if you've been reading the comics for a while, both Sabrina and For After Dark, you kind of see that. The same with the same with the lesbian skunk girls, Stacy and Tracy, who recently got married and everything, and they had their own little For After Dark comic based on the wedding and the honeymoon and what they did afterwards, and how it tied into basically another film shoot for Zig Zag. But they were all for it. They're like, hey, we want to share our love and everything with the world, so we'll go with it. And yeah, basically you could tell with them, it's the same. I'm trying to find the right words. You could tell. Okay, let me rewind. All right, but like I said, you could tell with them that they also feel the same way. That, hey, they're in this place. They can do whatever they want. They're having fun. And so on and so forth. And again, Zig Zag obviously is that kind of a boss. She's like, she wants good work, but she also wants you to have fun, have freedom, have fun, and so on and so forth. But she also has her limitations, because when she goes on this trip with Tina to try to get some answers, she leaves Sabrina in charge, and basically Sabrina ain't gonna fall for any any trickery, or any trickery, or any, like, hey, let's try to put this in there while Zig Zag's away kind of thing. She's not gonna fall for any false ploys and everything. And that's kind of cool. And obviously that's why Zig Zag put her in charge, because she knows she'd be more like, yeah, we're not going to do that. You can do whatever else you're ordered to do, or not ordered to do, but whatever else you're scheduled to do film-wise. But you're not going to slide these little additions on the table and, while Zig Zag's away and I'm in charge and stuff like that. But anyway, Zig Zag, like I said, she goes on this trip while she puts Sabrina in charge to get these answers. And that's why she reunites with her siblings. And then, like I said, she explains to her siblings why she did what she did. And it's obvious that it's not just obvious that her siblings know what she does, because it's pretty much confirmed that they do know what she does, but it is kind of hinted at that the grandfather, who's a tiger, and the grandmother's a skunk, if you will. So, and that's why, that's why Zig Zag has that tiger blood in her, the tiger skunk blood in her, mostly the tiger one. Zig Zag, this is why also Zig Zag's kind of the way she is, in that kind of predatorial kind of situation when she gets in the mood. But anyway, like I said, it's hinted at that the grandfather, it's Easter egg hinted at that the grandfather kind of knows what she does for a living. The way he talks and mentions to the grandmother, oh, she's going to be fine, don't worry, she doesn't need this, she'll be good, da-da-da-da-da. It's basically hinted at that he knows, but he's not going to say anything because, storyline wise, we can only assume that the grandmother may not know how to take it, because, even when Zig Zag kind of explained her relationship with Tina, the grandmother was kind of like taken aback a little bit, like she was understanding and supportive of it, even though it was kind of a surprise to her, because like she's not kind of used to that, like she's not kind of used to that much. Or even knowledgeable. I mean, she probably is, but not too much. And we might get more information about that later on, because, because what happens in the last page of the story here is, Zig Zag and Tina are leaving the apartment, the siblings' apartment, and, basically the grandmother is asking Zig Zag if she has talked to her mother. Zig Zag says no. Are you planning to? And Zig Zag says, I'm not sure. The grandmother's like, well, I'm sure she'll be glad to see you. And Zig Zag's like, well, is she, at the old place still? And she's like, yes, she is. And basically Zig Zag, tells the grandmother, she'll think about it. She'll consider maybe talking to her mom, because again, she's on this trip to try to figure out why she does what she does. Because again, the way the story begins is Zig Zag is, having a ladies' night out with Sabrina's mom, Endora, and they're having some drinks at a bar, and Endora asks her, kind of brings up, brings up the subject of whether or not she, she still looks attractive and all that, and Zig Zag's like, of course you are. Zig Zag's like, of course you are, of course you're attractive, you're still hot and everything. And then in the moment when she's telling Endora this, because again, Endora's wondering, if she's still viewed as, viewed as being attractive, and, I guess you could say, what's the word I'm looking for? Lusted over and all that. And Zig Zag's like, yeah, of course you are. Of course you're hot. You know, you're still attractive. You know, what are you talking about? And in that moment, because I think Zig Zag had just a bit more than Endora, she ends up kissing her on the lips. But what's interesting about it, and I point this out all the time when I talk about this, what's interesting about it is Zig Zag is the one that notices what she's just done, and she pulls away. The mother is just like, you know, Endora, Sabrina's mom, is just like, you know, in shock there. Like, you know, she doesn't push away, because later on, Zig Zag explains what happened to Sabrina, and even visually and on the lips wise, you know, gives Sabrina an example of what she did and what she would have expected from Endora, because when Zig Zag, you know, kisses Sabrina to kind of explain to her and, you know, what happened, and kind of show her or get the reaction she expected, you know, and Sabrina's pushing off saying, hey, knock it off and everything. Zig Zag's like, see, and this is earlier in the story when she's explaining to Sabrina what happened. Zig Zag is telling Sabrina, when Sabrina's pushing her off, she's like, she's like, see, Sabrina, that's what I expected from your mom. What I got from you just now, that's what I expected from her, but she didn't get it. She didn't get it. The mother was just in stunned silence and everything. And there's always been this notion among myself and other people that have been reading and following the story. There's always been this notion that maybe there's more to the mother, Sabrina's mom, than she's letting let on, if you know what I mean. And my assumption, this is speculation on my part, I could be wrong, but I think Sabrina's mom may have been like Zig Zag when she was younger. She may have been a wild child herself. She may have been a wild, rebellious, you know, girl, adolescent herself, especially maybe in college and everything, where, you know, where basically she would party and everything and get it on with not just guys but also girls. And maybe that's what we're going to find out. Again, I can't confirm that. I cannot confirm that, but I can say that it feels like we're heading in that direction. You know, we're heading in that direction and everything. But right now we're more focused on Zig Zag, because now Zig Zag's realizing, okay, I may have overstepped a boundary that I shouldn't have done. You know, because Zig Zag is always used to basically kind of being, kind of being in this situation to where, because of what she does for a living, you know, she's always like, she has this thought in her mind that it's okay to just kiss somebody and they'll be okay with it. Kiss them on the lips and they'll be okay with it. Because again, of what she does for a living, being an adult star, adult film star and owner of an adult film studio, she kind of has that mindset of she could do this and there won't be consequences, because she's used to doing it with the likes of Stacy and Tracy Skunk, Sheila Vixen, Helena Dish, and all the other people she works with, including Tina Lynx. You know, she's more, accustomed to that and everything. I mean, she even got a kiss from, a kiss on the cheek, that is, but from Sabrina, when she helps Sabrina out with something. And you see, she basically hints at in one earlier story, like several years ago, she's like, you know what to do. And Sabrina, she kind of rolls her eyes, kisses her on the cheek, and says, don't tell anybody I did that, But anyway, though, she's just, realizing she's stepping over the line. She's costing herself probably one of the closest friendships she has with Sabrina's mom, because, Sabrina's mom is probably one of the more willing, outgoing people that, will basically join her for a ladies' night out, a girls' night out, at the bar. So basically, she's realizing she's kind of risking that. She's going to lose that. And she has to know, what's going on with her. She has to get these answers. And again, we go back to several weeks ago when we met the grandparents, and the grandfather's like, hey, she's got that tiger blood in her. So we can only assume that that's part of the reason she acts the way she does. From a very predatorial stance, if you will, when it comes to wanting to get it on with individuals that are okay with her doing it, or more than willing to let her do it, even if it's unexpected, and all that, like Sheila and the Skunk Girls and so on. Basically, they're more willing, they're more accepting, like, oh, Zig Zag's in a mood, might as well get myself ready, kind of deal, and they're on the way. You know what I'm saying? They're on the way. But anyway, we could assume it's part of that. It's that tiger blood that's in her that makes her do that. but she also wants to know and I'm sure she knows that. I'm sure she's aware of that. But she also wants to get like a clear-cut answer, like, okay, I know it's the tiger blood in me, even though she hasn't said that yet. But you could just tell by following the story, if you have, that she knows it's the tiger blood in her, that's probably causing her to be that way at times, or at least helping in that perspective. So now she wants to get some answers as to, like, okay, I know it might be the tiger blood. Again, she hasn't said that yet, but again, you read the story, you can kind of sense that maybe she has figured that out. But also she wants other answers, like, okay, where do I get it from? Do I get it from the person I don't want to admit that I get it from? Or do I get it from my mother? Like, where is this part of me to where, I should know better about crossing certain lines come from? It's like, where does it come from? So, basically that's what she's doing on this trip, and that's why we're at where we are right now with the 48th page. And I do apologize if it's taking a little over 15 minutes, going on 16 minutes as we get to this, but that's why we're at this 48 page here, where it's basically a cool down moment and everything. It's kind of a cool down moment here on the 48th page, and they're just her and Tina in bed and everything. Well, Zig Zag's in bed, lying in bed, and Tina's joining her, and she's asking Zig if she's good, and Zig Zag's like yes and no. She's still processing everything that just happened with the fam. And Tina, kind of, I guess, kind of flirtatiously asks, you want any help? And they bold the word help and everything when she says it. It's like, you want any help processing? And, Zig Zag, for once, she's like, I appreciate the thought, but I'm not really in the mood. Sorry. And Tina's like, no problem. And then Tina compliments Zig Zag on her family, saying they seem really nice. Zig Zag's like, well, you met the nice one. And then she goes on to say that her brother Brandon's kind of cranky, but he has reason to be. And Tina then says, your grandmother reminds me a little of Endora. That being Sabrina's mom. And Zig Zag's like, really? Really? I didn't see it. I don't see it myself. And then the question comes up, are you planning, from Tina, if Zig Zag's planning to see any of the less nice ones? And Zig Zag answers the only best answer Zig Zag has for that, when Tina is asking her if she's planning to see any of the less nice ones, that, Zig Zag's best answer she can give her is maybe, because she's not sure. She's not sure what will happen when she encounters the other parts of her family, the ones that are less welcoming of her, the ones that are like, hey, we don't want you in our lives anymore. It's like, you're not one of us anymore, and da-da-da. So she's not too sure about it. But she does acknowledge that, she was kind of afraid, terrified to see her siblings and grandparents after all this time, but she's glad she did. So, who knows? It's up to whatever, I guess, God in that continuity, or in this world, this fictional world, is going to lead her towards. So basically it's more like, okay, what is the heart going to tell her? Is the heart going to say, go and talk to them, find them, kind of explain your actions, kind of acknowledge, look, I know you have a reason to not like me, da-da-da, and all that. So it's going to be interesting to see what the next step is when it comes to Zig Zag and Tina's trip here. So she's not sure, but she does acknowledge that, she does acknowledge that, again, she was a little afraid, terrified to see her siblings and grandparents after all this time, but, she's glad she did. She's glad she did now, so who knows? She might, think about, so it's like, who knows? She might consider going and seeing, at least her mother, to try to get some answers and everything. About why she acts this way, and is it something she gets from her? Is it something she gets from the father? Is it something she gets from another relative that's passed on? We're gonna find out eventually, very soon. Now, and we close out the page. We close out the page with, we close out the page basically with Tina acknowledging that Zig Zag's real name, Tanya, is a pretty name. And Zig Zag's like, it's an old name from an old life and the old me. Basically acknowledging once and for all that she's kind of shut the door on that side of her. That Tanya is what she was, who she was, and now she's moved on from that, and she's zigzag 100%. So overall, it's a nice little calm down, a little calming down, little. I guess you could say take a break from the norm, kind of page, kind of addition to the story. And I kind of like that because you are going to get those moments here and there with, Tina and Zigzag, and I'm sure Sabrina and Richard are see her husband. And I'm sure that's probably what we're going to end up in the next 2 pages, maybe, because we are close to the 50th page. And again, as I've acknowledged before, this is probably going to be one of the longest ones he's done. It's probably something he's been wanting to do for a while, that being Eric W. Swords. He's been probably wanting to do it for a while. He's just had to come up with the right story to, to make it happen, and now we're at that point. So I've got a feeling the next 2 pages, maybe, or at least the next page, we're going to kind of focus more on Sabrina. Because the last time we saw Sabrina, not only was she left in charge of Double Z Studios, but she also got advice from her husband of, instead of trying to, force an answer out of her mom, to basically, just, casually bring it up. Just go and, talk naturally, see how things are going, help out maybe, have a day out with your mom, have a day out with your parents, and then maybe during discussion, casually bring it up. And Sabrina's plan is to do just that. So we'll see what happens if the next page or so focuses on Sabrina and how she's going to get some answers from her mom. Because again, I've got a feeling Endora has a past that, as I've alluded to before, I think she's trying to hide away. She's trying to hide away from Sabrina and everything, as well as the rest of the family. Because if they were to find out, hey, back in her day, she used to be just like Zigzag, wild and free, partying, getting it on with not just guys but also gals, and basically, I feel like if that's what we're getting, and down the line, if that's the answer we get from Endora, or at least a revelation of that, we're gonna have Endora probably explain that she's, I've got a feeling that if that's the case, I'm trying to find the right word to say. I got a feeling if that's the case, Endora's gonna probably explain that that the reason she never wanted to bring that up again is because that's part of her old life. She, regrets doing what she did back then because she was young and stupid, and now she wants to focus on the future. So that's just my assumption. That's just my assumption of what I think is going to happen next. But that's if we start focusing on Sabrina in the next couple of pages. If not, and it continues being Zigzag and Tina, that's cool too. I think what they should do in the future is just, do one side of the page with Zigzag and Tina, and the other being Sabrina and what, she's doing to get some answers. But again, a lot of people, including myself, feel like Endora, Sabrina's mom, is hiding something. And as I said, it might be because she might have been back in her day very similar to Zigzag, and she's trying to not, remember that. She's trying to lock that away, keep it hidden, because, just like Zigzag says here, it's part of an old life in the old her. So the same could apply to Endora, but we'll find out. Overall, though, I like the story. I like how the story's been going so far. Again, it's going on to be one of the longest stories that they've done. And, can't wait to see what the next editions are. I do believe we're going to get a 4 After Dark comic spin-off or tie-in after this is all said and done with Tina and Zig. Maybe Zig and Endora, if they go down that path after this is all said and done. So we'll see what happens. And again, I still feel like there might be a connection. Because again, Endora, she doesn't want to speak about it and everything, because I think it did unlock a memory of her being like Zigzag back when she was younger and everything, doing the exact same things that Zigzag used to do, maybe even more so. So if we do find out there's a connection, I got a feeling it's going to be between Zigzag's mom. If we do see her, if she does meet her, which I think she's going to, we're going to find out maybe there's a connection between Zigzag's mom and Endora's mom. And probably we'll find out that they used to be BFFs in maybe college and everything. And, this is my speculation, theorizing, that maybe being BFFs in college, that both mothers went out to all these different parties and got it on with different guys and even gals and even each other. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what they do in the next several weeks. Again, we're just 2 weeks away from the 50th page. Can't wait to see how big that's going to be, if he wants to expand on that. And, yeah, that's all I can really say. But, guys, let me know what your thoughts are on the story so far. If you've been keeping track on it. How do you feel about, this situation with Zig Zag and her family? Do you think there's more to Endora than she's letting on and everything? Do you think maybe Endora was like a Zig Zag back when she was younger, and that's why she doesn't want to talk about anything, because it will trudge up all those memories that she wants to keep hidden away? Like with Zig Zag not wanting to acknowledge herself as Tanya anymore because it's part of the old her and her old self and her old life. Do you think maybe the same could be with Endora not wanting to say anything because it would trudge up those old memories of her being like Zig Zag when she was young? And do you think maybe if we do meet the mother of Zig Zag, then we'll find out there's a connection, there was a friendly BFF connection between both Endora and Zig Zag's mom dating back to the younger days? Let me know what your thoughts are on that. But guys, that's about all I can say on this recent addition to the story. And until next time, comment down below, like the video, ring the bell for notifications, subscribe to the channel, share the video if you would like. Also, click on the links in the description to find my content elsewhere. You can find me at all your favorite audio and video podcast affiliates. You can find me at iTunes, iHeartRadio, Pandora. You can find me at Spotify. You can find me at Audible from Amazon, Radio Public, Overcast. Anywhere there is a podcast, you will find me there as well. You can also support me over at patreon.com at BWRosas. I have a new video up there under the $3 and $5 tier. Check that out. I think you'll enjoy it. Also, support me at Cash App and Venmo if you can. Be greatly appreciated. Also, find me at Vimeo at BWRosas. Also, find me at Rumble at BWRosas. I've added some new content to Rumble as well, so check me out there, because it's content that I can't share here on YouTube, I can't share on YouTube, I should say, if you're watching on YouTube. It's content that I can't share here due to, reasons that YouTube, may not, its algorithm may not understand, and all that, as well as copyright and everything potentially. So I do have new content over at rumble.com at BWRosas. Check that out there. Also find me at odyssey.com at BWRosas.5. Also, support me at my Teespring store, where you can find merchandise you can't find anywhere else. Also find me at divanart.com at BVW1979. I added some new content there as well. Again, it's content I can't share here on YouTube due to, reasons, algorithm, and copyright. So check it out there if you want. Also find me at inkbunny.net at BWRosas. You can also follow me, ladies and gentlemen, at TikTok at BWRosas, Twitter, aka X, at BWRosas, and at Blue Sky at BWRosas. You can also find me at twitch.tv, and you can find me at kick.com. But guys, let me know what your thoughts are overall on this story. Are you following it? Are you keeping tabs on it? What do you think of it so far? And until next time, what do you think is going to come next, actually? What do you think is going to come next? Do you think I'm kind of on to some of my predictions of maybe Endora had a past similar to Zig Zag? Maybe there might be a connection between Endora and Zig Zag's mom, and maybe they were friends in the past. Let me know what your thoughts are. Comment down below, like the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications. And until next time, guys, I am out.